Not yet.
There.
Yep, there it
Ah, there we
comes.
go.
There you go.
Okay, cool. So there, Cody, it's being recorded. So just to reiterate, we just had the minutes approved by the board. So we're going to move forward from there. I do have a very brief, I wrote a briefer uh, president's report. I have a very long president's report, but I can give a quick overview of what I've been doing for November into December. Real quick, as everyone knows or might not know, that I am the representative for Washington Square West in regards to Market East uh, Corridor Advisory Group. Um, I was just at a meeting on December 3rd, so that would be my second meeting with this group. The second meeting was to appoint people to subcommittees. I had been appointed to a subcommittee that made no sense to me as representing a neighborhood. They had me with street and landscape enhancement, and I was like, no, that's not going to work for me. So I asked to be put back or to be put on the future land use subcommittee, which is a subcommittee that actually talks about all the land use that will be happening on Market East, which I thought was the most important subcommittee to be on for myself representing Wash West. So that was a whole thing in itself to get myself switched, but I got it done. So I'm officially on because they sent me a letter today saying I'm officially on that subcommittee. So, I mean, that's basically all I can really tell everyone right now about what's happening with that committee. Uh, I will get into more details on that later on because I did get some questions posed to us this morning in regards to the advisory committee. So stay tuned for all of that. I want everyone to know that I did go to my monthly meeting, which is called the Five Family Meetings, which always is held at Queen Village. So when it's the five families, that means it's Queen Village, Bella Vista, Wash West, um, Society Hill, Chinatown. I think that's it. It's five. And we try to meet monthly. This last meeting, we went over um, empty storefronts again and how we're asking for more help from the state to see if they can help us in regards to empty storefronts, along with city representatives, so Rue Landau, as well as Mark Squilla, to figure out what's going to be the best plan of attack. As you know, it's really hard to find these owners of these buildings that are vacant because they have all kinds of different names that they use. Um, but as the five of us or five civics are trying to do, we felt that, you know, the more of us, the better to go after and get more resolution from the state as well as the city. So stay tuned for that. We also had conversations in regards to sidewalk cafe usage because Councilwoman Rue Landau had put some a bill out in regards to it, which didn't make any sense to any of us. But it was only in a very specific location in Center City, which really pertained more to Queen Village than anyone else. But at the beginning of it, we all thought it pertained to all of us, and it wasn't. It was only like two streets that she brought this up about. So we were more people on South Street were freaking out over it than anyone else. But we've seemed to get a handle on that with Rue Landau. So that was another area that we really concentrated on in that meeting as well as homelessness and everything else that's going on in everyone's neighborhoods, right? Um, I
Can
also
I,
met with,
it's Tammy, can we further elaborate on that? It's my understanding that she's looking to pass a by right law
correct.
and to just kind of scotch over all the permitting, long,
Mm-mm,
dragged out, expensive
No,
permitting.
mm-mm,
Okay,
mm-mm,
no,
no.
no,
I hear head shaking, no.
All it's doing is saying that you don't have to get legislation
correct
passed. It's
for it.
still, you still have to have all the permitting, you still have to meet all the rules,
Right.
you still have to get the license.
But again, it's only two streets that
And
aren't
it,
in our neighborhood.
and it's only sidewalk seating. It is not in
Correct.
the street structures. So you're not losing any parking. You
That
still
is
have to
correct.
have a minimum amount of sidewalk space to be able to walk. So it's just getting rid of the legislative requirement to have the ability to do that.
I mean, I'm 100% for it. I think it'll add vibrancy to our neighborhood. Is our
Again,
neighborhood?
it's not our neighborhood.
It's not. Okay.
Nope. Has
All
nothing
right.
to do with our neighborhood. That's why I breezed over it because it doesn't have anything to do with us. It's
Okay.
two streets not in our neighborhood.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. I also met with Mural Arts to on a subcommittee that's discussing the LGBTQ plus mural with Gloria Caceres and some other well-known LGBTQ activists that have passed that will be going on Voyeur. It will be going on the Camac side as well as the St. James side of Voyeur. We're in the process of picking artists right now. The artists have been picked. There's three. They are now going to do sketches for the committee. And once those sketches are presented, I think they will then, I don't want to speak out of turn. Jay, you were at that meeting as well. Will be shown, I think, to public. Is that correct, Jay?
I believe that is the standard course for all murals. Yes.
Okay. So I was at that meeting. I was at the Historic Preservation Alliance meeting that is still putting together the handbook for residents for the historic designation. So this is a handbook that will be given out to all residents in Wash West that will be cliff notes as well as a lot of historic information on what you can do and who you can call if you are doing contracting work on your historic home or building. It's a very in-depth handbook, but it's coming to the end. So hopefully we will see a final put together of that handbook within the next couple weeks. Wash West will then look at it and do final approval, and it will be printed, I think, for early next year. Public safety meeting. I was at a public safety meeting with a group of residents from Camac, from Fawn, from Isaminger, like a bunch of different smaller streets on our southwest portion of our neighborhood. They had been seeing more car break-ins, more break-ins into homes, people being accosted on their streets while they were out walking. They asked to get a community meeting together just with their group of people, just to have conversations and try to make some decisions on how they could better talk to the police as well as talk amongst themselves. They came up with an idea that they would create an app on WhatsApp so that everyone could communicate in a better way and then hopefully connect the police up to that app. So that was another meeting I sat on. I sat on another meeting because, as you know, Pierre Robert has passed away. He was a prominent person in our neighborhood. He came to this neighborhood a lot. So family members and friends went to Councilman Squilla's office and asked for a street renaming. They then asked me as president of the Civic if they could rename Latimer and Camac, not Camac, but the intersection of Latimer and Camac to Pierre Robert Way. The board voted in favor of that. So Wash West wrote a letter saying that we were okay with Latimer being renamed Pierre Robert Way. It will be in City Council this week to discuss and for approval. I did speak with neighbors in the area. They were all in agreement that they felt that was a great thing to do for Pierre. So stay tuned on when that street renaming will happen. It won't be for a couple months because they would first has to pass through City Council, and then then the sign has to be made, blah, 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 blah. So
My apologies. I can't find the raise hand feature anymore. They moved it. Um,
Yeah.
Is there a connection with Pierre there that I'm not familiar with? I'm not. It's not criticism. I'm just curious.
He actually, I would see him every weekend in the neighborhood. It was a hangout for him at U Bar as well as Tavern.
Right. I was just curious about Latimer and that selection.
Only because that was the part they wanted Camac, and Camac is already renamed, is
Right.
named Little Streets of Clubs.
Right.
So you can't, they wanted Camac, and I said, you can't have Camac. So they picked Latimer.
Great. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Okay. That was my president's report as quickly as I could do it. So then let's move on. Bob's not here to do treasury report. Peter, did he give you anything to say? No? Okay. Just so everyone knows, Peter is now Bob's right hand on our treasury information moving forward, and Join It, which is our software program that we use to keep ourselves in line with all of our members. All right. We are going to move right into the voting. Cody, are you there?
I am. I could not get off mute. I apologize.
That's okay.
So I think it makes the most sense just to go into the officers first. The
Yeah.
rest we can discuss. So as previously noted, the officer slate that's being proposed for the next year would be Tammy as, well, I think it's just the same. That's probably the easiest way of saying it, but Tammy as president, Marissa as vice president, Bob as treasurer again, and myself as secretary. Those would be the 4 officer positions. And so we can vote for those. So if someone wants to make a motion or discuss first, that'd be great.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Any discussion?
I second the motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then the next one to do is the executive committee. So we've actually already created the executive committee. And it's the officers that we just elected. Those positions are part of the executive committee by default under our bylaws. And then there's a 5th spot that we previously named the zoning chair to that spot. So just for good governance, I would say if we could just reconfirm that those 4 positions, which are automatic under the bylaws, and then the zoning chair will fill that 5th position. I think that'd be the best way to do it, so we don't just name people individually. If we ever want to change that, we're more than empowered to. So the motion would be to reconfirm that the board is establishing an executive committee, and that 5th member would be the zoning chair, which is presumably going to be Michael. Is right now Michael, but I think Tammy after this vote, we'll get into the chairs of committees as well.
Correct.
Just for transparency, Cody, can you just confirm we are actually quorus at this point, because we have got a few absentees?
No, but
Yeah,
we
we do have quorum. I have also Bob's proxy and Catalina's proxy for these voting purposes, and I believe Tammy has Marissa's proxy.
and Deb.
And Deb. All right, I didn't see that one come through, but yeah, we do
Sure.
have quorum. So we just need a motion for that executive committee to be reconfirmed and that fifth member to be the zoning chair.
I make a motion for that.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Okay.
right, awesome. And then the last thing, Tammy, we don't need to vote on this, but if you just want to note, we don't have to either, but if you want to note, who the committee chairs are going to be going forward,
Yeah.
we can do that, but we don't need to vote on this. That's within the
That is
power of the
correct.
president. Now that we've established that Tammy's the president, we don't have to do anything from a board perspective.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to go through each committee. The membership committee will be Catalina. Again, she took that position on a couple months ago when she got onto the board, and she has asked to stay in that position, and I am more than happy to appoint her back into that position. So Catalina will be our membership committee chair. Community events, which used to be Katie, is now going to be Rob Ryan. He has asked for that position, and I am more than happy to oblige and give him that position again. Government affairs. Right now, that seems to reside under myself. If at some point there is a board member that wants to help and take on that with me, I am more than happy to share that committee with someone else. Greening will still stay with Deb Sweeney. She was very excited to be the chair for the last couple years, and she is looking forward to chairing it again for 2026. Community safety. Community safety has been chaired by Richard Lee, but we now have a new person who has asked to take on that role as well, and that is Peter Fralt. Peter is a newer member of our board and has been very active immediately with us, and I think can be a great asset in regards to community safety. So I am appointing Peter into that position moving forward. Vision Zero, Cody has asked to stay in that position. And so I am more than happy to appoint Cody back on and into that position for Vision Zero. Action on trash and graffiti. Peter and Barbara. I love the two of you on that committee. You guys rock. And so you absolutely stay as co-chairs on that committee. Zoning was taken over and had been run by Andrew. Andrew had done an amazing job, but Andrew has now moved out of our neighborhood, which has made us very, very sad. But we wish him the best of luck. And now Michael Palmer has stepped up to take on that duty, and I'm very excited to have Michael in that position. So Michael, thank you for taking on that role. And with that being said, that will automatically bring Michael into the executive committee for a committee of 5. We then did talk about a new kind of committee, which would be something of communications. And Andrew has stepped up for that position. So I'm really excited to bring Andrew in for that. So that would take on our website fill up, so that the website stays more up to date, as well as our Zooms and everything else that we communicate through, as well as social media. So I'm excited for Andrew to step up and take that on. So I think, oh, and then one last committee, which we have separated out of greening, which is tree tenders. And Sage has taken on that position as tree tender, head of tree tending. It's an area that we are excited to bring out and make bigger and better in our neighborhood. The canopy of trees is so important to neighborhoods in our neighborhood. So Sage is excited to take on that endeavor, and I'm excited for her. So that is all committee chairs that I have deemed onward to everyone. So good luck, congratulations, and let's go. Okay, from that, we're going to get right into committee reports. Catalina is not here. So basically, she sent me a quick note to say that she is working with Deb on new owners of homes in the neighborhood for membership. She is also working with Peter on Join It. That's Peter F. On Join It to clear out the system as best as possible and be able to send out correct information to current members as well as past members and members whose memberships are lapsing right now. So that is a huge undertaking, and Peter is doing a phenomenal job with that. She also is looking to meet up more with Rob Ryan to go over business and community engagement, to get that up and running more and look at getting new members through that engagement. So that's what she sent me to say, and there you go. We're going to go right into Rob Ryan with community engagement.
Good evening, everyone. Like Tammy said earlier, with regards to our holiday party, it's going to take place Monday, December 15th from 5:30 to 7:30 at Sophie's on 11th and 1112 Locust Street. So we're hoping to see people come out for that. Please spread the word. Bring your family, your friends. Hope to see everyone there. We have some big things planned starting in February for community outreach with one of the local businesses that will later send some information out in January for that. Tammy, that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Any questions to Rob? No? All right, let's keep moving. Government affairs. I just kind of gave my whole spiel on what I was doing, and that involves government affairs as well. So I'm going to skip over that now.
Tammy, I got one question for you.
Go ahead.
I know your place, but I know in your last president's report, you spoke about 210 12th Avenue and Jessup House, about collaborating with Councilman Squilla about getting trees planted in front of those
Yes.
two high rises.
Yep. Yep.
They were the civil design review showed trees, but of course that's a non-binding thing, and they're not required to. It's we just suggest, and then they decide whether or not they want to do it. But just want to know if you have any progress with that.
Yeah, it's so funny that you brought that up, because I actually had an email back and forth with them today, and we're supposed to be meeting up next week to look at that in more detail, because I think the streets department did review it and said, I think they said it was okay that they do plant trees. So
It just both 210 and Jessup, or just one and not
it
the
would
other?
not be on, it would not be on the, it would be on the Jessup. No, not Jessup. I'm sorry, 210. I'm only talking about 210 right now.
210, 12, okay.
Yeah. And it would be on the St. James side of the building.
But not on 12th.
It couldn't be on 12th only because of, well, not at this time anyway, because they are filling their retail space in
Right.
all of those spaces below, and they are needing to be able to access the sidewalks, as well as their whole move-in and dumpster removals are on 12th Street
Yeah.
there as well. So they couldn't plant any trees in front of that area either. So they agreed to St. James, but not on 12th right now.
That's just,
Tammy,
and that construction is just temporary construction and
That
they're
is
saying,
correct.
okay. But hopefully in the future, when all the construction is completed, we can revisit that and ask for trees
You
over
can
there.
revisit, yes.
Tammy.
Yeah.
Hey, so I discussed this with Marissa as well. I stepped in with the community advisory board to the mayor. We're looking, as the city, we are looking at putting 3 trees on St. James where was promised. So we're putting in the request from the mayor's office. We're going to see if that helps expedite it into the first planting season coming up.
Okay, cool.
Great, thanks.
Anything else?
I
Before
thought we were gonna,
Yeah.
if this is the time, I thought we were gonna vote on the government communications policy.
Oh, yeah, we can. Absolutely.
I
Sorry
thought that was
about
on the
that.
agenda, unless I missed
It
it. I
is.
thought
Sorry
that was
about
on the
that, Cody. You know, I'm reading down through all my notes. So yes. As everyone knows, except I'm sorry, did Andrew and Alex get those forms as well? That form for government affairs? Did you
I
send
I don't know. I have not been managing
I didn't
that policy, so
I did not send that policy out to them. So that's a misstep that they did not receive that. So they won't be able to vote, in my opinion, unless they want to still vote in
well,
regard.
I think, I mean, if they haven't had an opportunity to review it, I think it would be right to maybe, if there's any discussion, and then we can try to vote on it if there's sufficient votes after the meeting.
That's fine. We can do that. Does anyone have, because everyone else did receive them, I know for a fact. Does anyone have questions on them to discuss? As we then will get it out to Andrew and Alex for review as well. If not, we can vote offline in regards to those policies. Is everyone okay with that? Are you okay with that, Cody?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. I think just so the community knows, we used to have kind of a more structured approach for how we interacted with government, specifically mainly government and quasi-governmental officials. And we just wanted to kind of reestablish that so we could speak primarily just with one voice, and controlled, the messaging that was sent to the elected officials. There's other things in there, but that's primarily is the purpose of the policy.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. All right, so we'll take that offline to vote on. Greening, Deb is not here, but I did want to say that Community Gardens will be closing on December 15th. And then we had cleanup day last weekend, and it was highly successful cleanup day. The city came through with the blowers multiple days. We had the shredder at the park, Seeger Park, that was donated by Nikhil Sval office, and a lot of people came to shred. So all in all, it was a very, very successful weekend. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, community peeps who came and got their bags and did rake up leaves around their homes that still fell after the city came through with the blowers. So we really appreciate everyone's effort in that cleanup day, and it's always been a great, successful weekend for us. And we had great weather, so it worked out very, very well. There was no rain. That's what I mean by great weather. It was cold, but no rain. So thank you to everybody. And Deb wanted me to let everyone know. She says thank you as well. Well, I can't really go through community safety right now unless, Peter, you have something you want to talk about in regards to that.
I can just report in on what came out of the PSA meeting on Wednesday. And that's that we have 2 new captains that will be responsible for Wash West. And I'll put their contact information in the chat. And just a couple of things that were interesting, I guess. There's going to be a new police station at 12th and Market sometime in the near future. That's going to house Center City District officers. It's going to house SEPTA officers. It's going to house Jefferson security people, Temple perhaps, and 9th District people. So just you'll see that in the not too distant future. And then also something that was kind of interesting, and that is that SEPTA security or SEPTA police and Philadelphia police cannot talk to each other on their radios. So they are getting new radio systems so that they will be able to hear each other, talk to each other, and coordinate their activities. So all good things. That is all I have at this point.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Next committee, Vision Zero. Cody.
So just one of the main focuses is still, spruce and pine. So I'll give an update there, which is there is no update because the city still has suspended all those meetings because of the lawsuit. But I want to keep the community knowledgeable of exactly what we know. The other thing that I wanted the board to know is there were some emails around how the city released their new high injury network. Unfortunately, our neighborhood hasn't gotten really any better in regards to how many of the most dangerous streets are in our neighborhood. So that has been a goal of the committee, is to focus on projects that are addressing those specific streets. And we're going to really kind of double down on that effort to make sure we have some sort of ideas or interactions with the appropriate officials for each one of those streets. And I say that because some of them are PennDOT streets, so it's not just the city. So stay tuned for that. Locust Street, I think I noted this at our last meeting. The repaving got moved. The city did respond to us and said that they were looking into our suggestions around safety improvements and what could be incorporated into their plans for repaving. And Society Hill actually might join us as well in some recommendations to the extent we cross over, which is really only on the 7th and Locust intersection, which if anyone's been there, it's pretty bad. There's no ADA ramps on one of the crosswalks. One crosswalk's completely faded, and the other intersection doesn't really have sufficient daylighting, so cars come in very quick and don't see people in the crosswalk. I actually was there today with someone from Society Hill, and a lady was like 2 feet away from getting hit in the crosswalk. So it was sad, but it was very poignant that it is a place that needs some intervention. The other project that we've been working on for a while is the leading pedestrian indicators on Market Street. As a reminder, we have Chinatown RCO that's signed on to support that effort. McCall, Home School Association, and Friends of Independence Library are all aligned to support that. Those letters have been circulated to the board along with a draft letter that we would ask Mark to support. That's how Fishtown did this successfully. So that is pretty much on to the next phase almost. And I'd just like to thank Sage for taking the lead on that project. I think did an amazing job, and hopefully we can get that across the finish line to make that whole area safer and more pedestrian friendly. I think that's it. The only other thing I'd mention is the Center City Residents Association, which covers Rittenhouse, heard about some of the work we were doing, and they asked to basically copy it for Locust Street and the leading pedestrian indicators, and they wanted kind of our playbook on how we got speed bumps at McCall. So not that it's relevant to our neighborhood, but it was nice to have some outside validation and make all of our residents go outside of our neighborhood. So maybe creating safer environments in the adjacent neighborhoods as well. So just thought I'd give that little tidbit. That's it.
They were very excited about all that, Cody. I know they have contacted me a couple times about it, and they appreciate you tremendously in helping them out. So thank you on all that. Any questions for Cody? All right, Sage, I'm going back to you for tree tenders.
Yes, I would like to ask a question or make a comment for Cody.
Sure.
Philip Benedict here. I just wonder if he could provide further information, or probably could press for further information about why it is that Spruce Street is on the high injury network, and what are the nature of the problems or accidents that have occurred along there. That remains an important question to clarify with reference to all of the planned changes on Spruce Street.
Yeah, and if the city is allowed to engage again, assuming they will once the lawsuit is resolved to some level, I guess they might be allowed to. I'm assuming their law department is telling them not to speak as it relates to active litigation. That is something we could ask for, because I think it is relevant. Sage knows this, and the other people that were on that are on the Complete Streets Committee. 13th Street actually used to be on the high injury network, and we speculated maybe it's drunk people at night, right? Like so maybe that requires different interventions because of the type of injuries that are happening there. Thankfully, that actually got removed off the high injury network, which makes some sense because they added a protected bike lane there, and that has been shown to make streets safer for all road users. So, but we never dove into the data that deep, but it is certainly something that we would consider requesting if the city ever re-engages. Frankly, I don't think they will. I think this group has effectively shut out any sort of community input in the designs. I think we'll get final designs and community meetings before they go in. But I think, unfortunately, because a small group of people decided to go a lawsuit route, the city's no longer going to really be engaging with the community.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, Sage, you're on. No, we can't hear you.
Me now?
Yep.
Okay, great. Sorry, audio issues. I'm on the train. Last month we had our fall tree planting. We had a great group of volunteers. We were able to plant 4 new trees in the neighborhood. One right off of 13th on Chancellor, one on Pine Street, one on Waverly, and one on 12th Street. So hopefully those do well this winter. So that was a huge success. Thank you to all of our volunteers who showed up, including a lot of board members. And the next deadline for next year's fall planting is early May. So we're going to do a big push later once spring hits to try to get more applications in. And there should be a spring planting as well, but the application is closed for that. So that'll depend on whether or not the applications that came in over the summer get approved or not. But once again, continue to encourage all of your neighbors to apply for street trees. It's totally free. Volunteers will do all the planting. If you see any businesses with empty tree pits, even if there's not a tree pit, but a place where you think would be a really good spot for a new street tree, you can still apply even if there's not a current tree pit. So as always, feel free to reach out to me to learn more.
Sage, does the city pay for that that cut in the sidewalk?
So PHS, you are allowed to apply. So if they do think it's a really good spot, they would do that, or city contractors would. Yeah, we haven't had any of those approvals or applications yet where there's not a pre-existing tree pit, so I'm not really sure
I can say,
how likely that is.
I
Peter.
I can add a footnote to that. That has been done in the past on occasions where a cut has been needed, and the homeowner is not expected to pay for that. The only thing that a homeowner would be expected to pay for is the stump removal if there's an existing
stump removal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you. Because I know people ask me that all the time, and I tell them I'm not sure. So now that I know for sure that that they would pay to cut in, but they will not remove the stump, is important information. Yeah. And do we have organizations that we can give people for stump removal, or do we not?
The Wash West. Oh, sorry.
Go on, Cody.
I was going to say, for a while ago, Tammy, the Wash West Trust had a fund for stump removal. So I don't know if they stopped that grant, but they used to have funds for stump removal.
Good grant.
I don't know if they have preferred contractors, but that's maybe that's something we could look into.
Okay. I just think it would be nice to be able to let our neighbors know if there are contractors that have been used in the past and who they might be.
Yeah, I mean, that is a thought, actually. That's something, Tammy, that we could ask for the fund, the trust for, is a kind of, unless it has to be specific to an actual task, it would be good to have a reserve for that.
Yeah, I can definitely ask the trust in regards to that. But if we can find any contractors that are out there that have removed stumps in the past in our neighborhood, and people recommend, that would be great to have as well. Or PHS has vendors that they recommend. Barbara?
Yeah. Hey, Sage, can you tell the board and members about your great idea regarding the door hangers and just simple barcode?
Yeah, so this is not a full-baked idea yet, but we were thinking, we tried sending mailings to, I think, over 50 different houses that we know have empty tree pits. We were thinking maybe this spring we can instead do door hangers. We have one of our volunteers who's a professional graphic designer can make them very nice. It does seem like that would be legal under city code. And then we could have a volunteer day where we kind of canvass the neighborhood, and anywhere with an empty tree pit, we could put that and hopefully get some more applications in that way. And a lot of this is, repeat, even if 9 times out of 10 someone says no or, doesn't get around to it, hopefully, at some point they'll say yes and go through all of the steps they need to go through, which aren't that hard, but, are a point of friction.
Especially just putting a simple barcode on the door hanger. I mean, I'm not a technology person, but that would be really just a one and done kind of thing for people, because I've heard people say that the application is confusing. You and I were looking at it Saturday, and it was confusing. So if it could just be a real simple one and done, I think we might get a decent return on that. But I think the door hanger idea is really, really good. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, action on trash and graffiti.
Okay, I'm going to hand over to Barbara in a second because I think she's got more to say than I have. But I just want to say, I think I can speak for both of us that we're very happy with the work that TWB, our cleaning contractors, have been doing since May. I think they've been getting better and better, and we're seeing cleaner and cleaner streets. Obviously, we've had a lot of help from the sanitation department in the past week, as well as residents on Saturday, which is terrific. And I hope you all saw the e-post I sent out yesterday that draws attention to all of that, with an immaculate view of 12th Street like it's never been seen before. But if anyone's got any feedback on that cleaning, issues and things that they think are being missed. We're talking only about the commercial corridors, so that's the major cross streets through our neighbourhood. Then please let Barbara and me know, and we will react accordingly. So that was all I wanted to say about that. But over to Barbara.
The TWB cleaning team has settled in very nicely, and I agree with Peter. They're getting better and better. I think they feel more relaxed in our community. When I've talked to them, they've told me that there are neighbors that come up and thank them. So I think we've established a good relationship with them so far. They check in with Peter and I all 4 days that they're in our neighborhood. They give us a good morning. We give them a good morning back. And if Peter and I see anything that needs attention, in fact, you alluded to 12th Street, Peter. I think over that weekend, there was a car wreck on that street because I saw a lot of, car debris. And that was over the weekend. Monday morning, I sent them a text, and within an hour, it was all cleaned up on 12th Street. So they're doing a good job. I think they're really happy, and I think they like us. The issue, I think right now, for us, I think the issue are the Patco stairwells at Locust and Juniper Street. We have 2 stairwells that the unhoused loiter in, sleep in, eat, litter in, take drugs in, and it hasn't gotten any better. In fact, I think it's gotten worse. The good news is that Councilman Squila has appropriated money to have gates put on the top of those 2 Patco stairwells. So it hopefully will just ameliorate the problem completely. I mean, they're just going to go somewhere else, but at least they won't be in those Patco stairwells. But it's going to take a little time. The money has been appropriated. The materials have to be purchased, and then the labor has to happen. That's what I was told. Meanwhile, I'm hoping that we can contact the streets department and the 9th precinct to ask them to help us out while we're waiting for these gates to be installed. I mean, I think this is a trash problem and a public safety problem. I mean, I'd like to address it with the police captain and ask him to make a couple of patrols during the day and evening to see who's in the stairwells, and if there are any people in there to please escort them out. And I'd like the streets department, if we can, to at least once, or if not twice a week, address the litter on the Patco stairs and clean it. It's a really weird situation. So Patco is not responsible for the stairs. The cleaning of Patco is it's partnered between us, the city, and Patco. Patco is not responsible for power washing or cleaning the stairs. So that's why I'm asking that we address the streets department and get them at least twice a week to clean the stairwells. Now, I know this is a government affairs thing, Tammy, that the police captain of the 9th precinct, as well as the streets department, would need to hear from us. We need to address these issues to them. So I'm not sure what the next step could be, but I would like to see something more happen over there.
Yeah, I can tell you that the residents that are over near those 2 locations have been contacting the police regularly in regards to homeless living in those stairwells. The 2 gentlemen that were police officers that were at our annual meeting in person are really the 2 gentlemen that we should also be talking with, because they're the ones who come and actually deal with the unhoused in places like those stairwells. So I can absolutely get an email out and a meeting set up to go through this again and find out exactly who in the streets department, if they even have to be contacted, because those police officers actually contact sanitation to come and clean out the areas as well. So
these are the Patco stairwells.
I'm
Yes,
sorry, say again?
These are the Petco stairwells.
Yeah.
yes.
So I just actually took pictures today, ironically, of the ones at Watts and Locust, and I'm putting those in through the mayor's office.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, I looked down the one, and there's carpeting in the one, carpeting and furniture sitting in the
The
one.
pictures you had, Barbara, were which two areas?
Same
Which,
ones. This, you're talking about the stairwells, Nathan?
Yes.
Yeah, same thing, the stairwells.
Yep. The going down.
Yeah, I
Yep.
Yeah.
mean, you could get a pretty gory picture any day of the week down there
You
if you
know,
want. Yeah.
I had submitted photos about those particular stairwells previously. The mayor's office was informed by all the parties involved, and trust me, there's a cavalcade of heroes here. And they basically said, "Oh, that's why we're going to close these and clean them." Those particular stairwells, the ones at Watts, are not closed off
Correct.
and they are not cleaned and they continue to get worse and worse and they're retaining water because when they whoever put the carpeting down there, it covers over the drain. So now it's a swimming pool.
Okay, let me just make sure that we're on the same page. It's the ones that they're just stairwells and they don't lead to anywhere down there in the pack.
Sylvania, right by the Sylvania house.
Okay. Okay,
Building.
so I was just addressing that. So there are going to be gates that are going to go up there to prevent them from going down the stairs. The money has been appropriated by Councilman Sula.
I'm aware of that.
Okay,
They,
so with
for
that's in
some
the,
reason, they stopped and they didn't complete those. And no one knows why, and no one wants to take the responsibility for it. That's why all of them are done except for those two.
yeah, but I know, but the, like I said, the money was recently appropriated for those two, and I actually sent an email just recently, and I was told, please be patient. We have to purchase the materials, and then we've got to get the labor out there to put in the gates. But it is in the process. But what I'd like to see is just some hands-on from the sanitation department and police department to
It's
get
not
it
their
clean.
department, that's the problem.
It,
When I
no,
said
no,
a
no.
cavalcade of heroes, I'm not joking. You've got Center City District, you've got SEPTA, you've got the city, you've got some other rare trusts of the old metro systems that used to be in place. There is a whole bunch of people that's hands are mixed in there. It's not sanitation. That's the last department that would have control over it. This has to be done by this
Over
group.
cleaning the stairs.
Yes,
Well, I don't know about that because CLIP, Community Life Improvement Program, which is a part of the
I'm very
stats,
familiar with it.
they power. I asked them to power wash the Patco stairs, and they did. So they actually, I think that the city does have jurisdiction over those
I
stairs.
am telling you, I have sat in several meetings on this issue. The reason that we're having the issues on the anything relating to the concourse is because of the multitude of businesses and organizations that have various tiny sections or a say over it. I've sat in all of these meetings on this with several of these different
All
groups.
right. Well, then, Jay, let's take this offline with
Yeah.
Barbara and figure out what
Let's
our
talk-
next plan
yeah.
of attack is moving
Yeah.
forward with
Let's
that.
talk about what can be done rather than what can't.
Okay.
Right. So we'll get more detailed information on it. But again, those two police officers that were at our meeting are put in place just for the homeless anyway, not as much as cleaning the area. But they do send sanitation to clean out areas as well. So we'll figure that out.
Okay. So other than that, TWB cleaning, they're doing a good job, and the issue at the Petco stairwells, I think that's about all I have for now. And if anyone has any questions, be happy to answer them.
Okay. Thanks, Barbara and Peter. I appreciate it. Zoning, Michael.
No real updates aside from the fact that we're going to be skipping the December meeting just because it falls on Christmas Eve this year. So we had one project that came to us, but had actually requested that they delay until January, just given the conflict with the holiday and the tight turnaround time for them to have to send out letters. So that meeting will be on, I believe it's the 27th
Yeah.
of January at 7 p.m. Aside from that, nothing else to report.
Thank you, Michael. Barbara?
I know I talk a lot here. So Michael, the visitor accommodation variance meeting that we had, I'm losing track at 254 South 11th Street.
Right.
The ZBA met on October 8th. I was at that meeting. We had 15 letters of opposition from near neighbors. The Planning Commission voted opposition, and I was also there to represent the Civic Association voicing opposition. Have we gotten a decision from them yet?
I have not received anything
That's crazy.
from ZBA on that. So
It's 2 months. And I just want to alert everybody that our position on visitor accommodations is that we don't support visitor accommodations unless for special reasons. And I just want to say that the last one that we had on Kamak, we voted unanimous opposition, but the ZBA anyway went against us and approved. And if the ZBA approves this one with 15 letters of opposition from us and opposition from the Planning Commission, then we've got a problem that needs to be fixed, because they're not listening to the RCO or the Planning Commission or the neighbors if they vote this one approved. So I'm curious to see what they decide. And like I said, if they decide to yes, I think we have to have a meeting and discuss what we do, what our next steps would be. Anybody?
yeah, I would
Well-
just add, I think the city's a bit nervous. There's 3 different bills that are going to the Supreme Court regarding this issue, and none of them have been picked up on the docket, but it's something that's being contested kind of nationwide, which is the ability for a city to ban the use of short-term rentals on private property. And so for the people that had been doing that prior to the city creating an ordinance or a zoning ban on short-term rentals, they're kind of taking the position, it seems, that they can be grandfathered in, assuming that they're, not a, commercial type of developer or something of that nature. But yeah, nonetheless, they're not really listening to RCOs, and that seems to be the case across other parts of the city as well.
Yeah, RCOs and our Planning Commission. I mean, I think if that's an issue that we need to address and talk more about as an RCO. I mean, if we do feel that we want to limit as much as we can visitor accommodations. Anybody?
I mean, I can't talk in regards to that. I'm just being honest. So that would be something I think that the zoning committee would discuss in more detail moving forward.
Well, yes, but it also, if it affects the whole community and neighborhood and not just the zoning committee. I mean, if most of the near neighbors are, I really think it's a community issue and not just an issue for the zoning committee to talk about. And at the very least, it should be brought up at a full board meeting like here.
Okay.
And then
So
one
it's
more
being brought up right now. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing that there's not really anyone on the board here that,
Well, I don't know. I mean, if
As
they're gonna
comment.
if they're gonna just pass all these visitor accommodations, then why even bother to go through the motion and have these meetings if we know what the result is going to be?
no, I agree with you.
It's
Barbara.
silly, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, Barbara. I think maybe I don't know if that's what you're saying, Tammy, but what I would say is I think it's a question of just like resource allocation. If the zoning committee thinks this is worth banding together with other RCOs to try to advocate for some change that would prevent the ZBA from overriding it, then that's great. But we'd have to kind of see what that plan would be to accomplish that. But I mean, I think not. I think I know. I do agree with what Barbara is essentially saying, which is like we shouldn't put any effort into opposing them if they're just going to get approved. Like if our position is that we don't want these in our neighborhood, how much resources do we allocate to achieving that goal? Maybe it isn't worth the squeeze, but yeah, I think that's what I'd be interested in knowing what could even be done outside of our neighborhood to achieve that, if anything.
Well, let's see how they rule on this one, and then I think we need to readdress it and talk about it again, see what we want to do about it.
Well, I guess we can also discuss it with other RCOs, right?
Yeah.
To see what kind of issues they have, if any, at all. I mean, I can bring it up at the meetings that I go to and see what they have to say, for sure. So, but Michael, I want him to be a big part of this discussion as well, now that he is leading the zoning committee, and he, I'm sure, has ideas that he wants to use moving forward also.
Maybe we decide that we don't have a position anymore on, temporary accommodations. I think that it might have been something that Jonathan Bro put in and was pretty passionate about. I don't know, but we probably should just readdress it at some point.
I mean, I don't think silence on this call, and there's not a lot of volunteers to speak, but we are a reduced number on this call, so I don't think, and also this has come up without it being an agenda item particularly. So I don't think silence, Barbara, necessarily means that people are not supportive of your position. I mean, I think it's something. I think it's enough of an issue to be worth discussing. But there's talking and there's actually being able to do anything. I mean, my concern, speaking personally, is that I think there's a number of illegal temporary accommodations in our area, and I don't think that's being addressed adequately. I think too many property owners are getting away with that, and I would like it to be more transparent. For example, which properties are licensed for temporary accommodation and which are not. That should be more visible, and it's certainly something that the zoning committee should moderate. But as for actually being able to influence legislation, that's another question, which does take resource, and I'm not sure that we have got a lot of strength for that.
That's an enforcement thing. I mean, how do you know who's operating legally and who's not operating legally? It's almost impossible to know unless you live around one and you see different people coming in and out on a monthly, basis, and then you've got to report it to L&I, and then they knock on the door and there's no answer and they close the case. So it's a really tough one to address, especially if they're doing it illegally.
Well, if we even give up on doing that, then are we ever going to take on something bigger, like being able to influence legislation?
Well, like I said, I don't think that we're an enforcement wing. I think that would be almost impossible for us to do, is to find out who's operating legally and who's not.
No, but we should at least report it to L&I.
Agreed. If your neighbor is suspicious or sees or is sure that, there's a illegal Airbnb going on and they disapprove of it and it bothers them, absolutely. But it's not for us to do and to get involved with.
Just so everybody's aware, and maybe to provide a little bit of comfort, you're unable to actually list in the state of Pennsylvania on Airbnb or VRBO without putting in a license number. And that was actually kind of mandated by L&I. So if anybody, my understanding is there are people up there that are looking and verifying that they're real license numbers, but there are, at least Airbnb and VRBO, which are the kind of like the two primary culprits for short-term rentals, kind of conformed their website to meet that requirement. You do not need one though, however, if you are renting your home for more than 30, like on a month-to-month basis, you would just need a business activity license like any other landlord would. So those are kind of like the two discrete differences. But from my understanding, I think the hard thing is actually just getting the license to operate the short-term rental, and that's essentially what this property on 11th Street was trying to go to the ZBA to obtain, because they're currently operating on a month-to-month basis through Airbnb, but would like to have the ability to offer shorter term rentals, say like a week or a weekend or something like that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
That's it.
thanks. All right, we're down to the wire. We're over our time as always. I'm now opening it up to the public if they have questions that they want to ask. Philip? You're muted, Philip.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed part of the early part of the meeting. Did I miss the treasurer's report?
You did not miss the treasurer's report because Bob is not here. So there was
So we don't get a treasurer's report.
Well, we don't have one tonight, Philip. But we can definitely have Bob put something together and we can put it out in an e-post for end of year.
That would be terrific. Thank you very much.
You got it. Anyone else? Mark, do you want to speak up in regards to your questions that you had?
I had sent in a few questions about the advisory board.
Yeah.
Specifically, how does the general public get the information that's happening at these meetings? Are they recorded? Are there minutes being produced? I know some writers in the Philadelphia Business Journal have been reporting on what's going on in the meetings, but it seems like, is there some kind of formal process where we're kept abreast of what is actually happening in those advisory meetings?
So, since this was only my second meeting, like I said, a lot of your questions I actually sent over, so because I can't answer most of these, because again,
Okay.
It's only been 2 meetings, to the Planning Commission and Guidehouse. Guidehouse is the contractor for city planning in regards to this advisory group. They're the ones who are gathering all the information. So for instance, there is on the city's website a location where you would go to ask questions or
Right.
to give your ideas of what you think should happen on Market East, right? So here's what they sent back to me in regards to your first question about public record or transcribing it, because I have not even received minutes from any of the meetings yet. So they're saying that the minutes will be available in the upcoming weeks on Market East Revival programs and initiatives on the city's website. They're not there yet, what they're saying, but they said they are coming in the next few weeks. What else did you have a question on?
Well, yeah, they were, again, it's for the
I'm
future
sorry, Mark.
as
Let
well.
me
Yeah.
let me interrupt you real quick. You had said something about media being there. So for the first time, this second meeting that we had, they allowed media to come into the meeting. They were not allowed in the first meeting, but they allowed media in to the second meeting. So that's how you saw the reporting coming out from these different media outlets, because the city and planning allowed the media to come to that meeting we just had last week.
Okay.
So I knew you asked that question, so I wanted to be able to answer that for you.
Sure. I guess is there any discussion? I don't want to take too much more time of your time, but is there any more discussion about the fact that there's only 3 RCOs represented and 57 developers, unions, city officials on this advisory board? I mean, it sounds to me like at a ratio of 3 to 57, a lot of the advice is going to be, shall we say, developer oriented versus resident oriented. Is there any talk about maybe balancing that a little?
I already tried all that, Mark, in the very, very beginning. I tried to get more people from Wash West to be able to be on this advisory committee or group, and they said absolutely not. That was from the city,
Right.
saying that. So I already voiced my opinion in regards to that there was not enough residential or people representing communities involved with this group. So I was, of course, voted down on that, but I did try.
By the 57, right. So, okay.
Well, it wasn't
so,
even the 57. They didn't even have a vote on that. That was, that was the mayor's office and planning.
and Squilla probably, right? I mean,
I can't.
yeah.
Actually, I didn't hear from Squilla in regards to it. I brought it up in the big meeting saying, representation is very low in regards to residential.
Okay. I'm not sure where we go from here on that, but it sounds like it'll be a continued point of contention. And certainly not with yourself, but with
right.
With
their remarks back to me is that they want and are going to hold more community meetings moving forward with all of this. I actually, Mark, am trying to put together a community meeting for Wash West for community members to attend, hopefully in January, if not February, with some people from the Planning Commission and Guidehouse so that the community gets to ask questions that they have burning. I think it's important for community to know and be able to hear from the commission, as well as you guys are able to ask the questions that you want to ask. So I'm working on that right now. The Planning Commission said that they haven't totally approved it yet. I did speak to one of the head people of Guildhouse, and they are more than happy to be involved. They just need approval from the city for that involvement.
Of course, yeah, right. The contractor wants as many people on there as they can, for sure. Okay, yeah. So that's where we stand as of meeting number 2.
Correct. But the more information I receive, I will absolutely give out. And Mark, I will send you over their formal answers to some of your questions that they did send over to me so that you have that in writing.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Any other questions before we end this meeting? I do want to announce, and I know Rob did announce it again, that we are having a holiday party on the 15th of January from 5:30 to 7:30 at Sophie. He has opened his doors and is welcoming the entire community in. So please, please, please stop in and say hi. With that, I hope everyone has a great holiday and a happy, happy, happy new year, because we will not be meeting again until January of next year. In regards to our board meetings, we will always be meeting as groups in our committees. So with that, I need someone to close out the meeting. So could anyone give me go ahead.
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Perfect. And Peter seconded it.
Second.
Perfect. Anything else before we say good night? Nothing. Fantastic. Everyone have a great night and have a great holiday.
Good night. Take care. Happy holidays.